Tonight we're going to talk about the top thyroid disruptors. I want to preface it by saying that right now I'm going through my own thyroid challenge. I went to the doctor, and you may have seen some of my videos in the last couple of weeks where I posted about it, but I went to the doctor a couple of weeks ago and I found out that my thyroid function was at a 13.5 on medication, and I should be at a 5.0 or under. What that means for me is that I'm severely hypothyroid even on medication. So this, I know a lot about thyroid just having had it since I was 33, or hypothyroidism, let's say. But I'm learning a lot so I can share it with you, but it's also beneficial to my own journey, to my own health, and to where I'm trying to go with things. So I just wanted to share with you some of the things that I've learned. Please bear in mind that this is information. It is not meant to replace anything that your doctor would share with you. So if you have questions about your own health and your own journey with an underactive thyroid or potentially underactive thyroid, please discuss it with your doctor. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research and go armed with that information to your doctor. Make sure you ask for a complete thyroid blood panel. I can't stress that enough, and I won't stress it enough. So what I found out, I went dairy-free a few years ago, back in 2013, and I also went meat-free. I do eat fish now, but I'll be honest with you, a lot of the things that can disrupt a thyroid are things that it's hard to get rid of everything. So I think it's a good idea to empty our systems and then to start from scratch, adding things back in to see what causes a response. The problem with it is that you would have to continually get your thyroid tested every month or two, and it depends on if your doctor would order that, and if so, would you be able to would your insurance pay for it? So and I tell you, some of these things are things that are in our everyday life. You can't get rid of everything, and I don't want people to obsess and really focus on all of these things, because there are so many things that can be not just disruptors, but can cause an inflammatory response in our body, or can cause cancer, or be a potential carcinogen. And I think it's easy for us to get caught up in the minutia of that, and I really don't want people to go there. Okay, with that said, I'm going to go through each of these kind of quickly because I'm trying to stay under 15 minutes on my video. And just know that the details will be on my blog probably tomorrow night at carolwardfitness.com. So the very first one, I'm going to go over 10. The very first one is soy. And because I went meat-free and I went dairy-free, after some time I stopped eating beans and lentils and I replaced them with some soy-based meats, and I think that could be what's causing a big disruption in my thyroid. It could also be stress, because stress can affect your thyroid as well. In fact, that should be on my list, and it isn't. But anything that is soy-based can cause, it causes your body to produce more estrogen, and estrogen has an effect on your thyroid gland. So if you're going through menopause and you're taking hormone replacement therapy and it has estrogen in it, just kind of keep that in mind as you're talking with your doctor. It might be time to look into other options, or to at least see where your thyroid is going and what's happening to it. The other thing is if you're taking in a lot of soy in your diet. Oh, let me preface it by saying there's one other thing, sorry. If you're taking oral contraceptives, those also are producing an estrogen response in your body, of course, and they could also cause you to go into hypothyroidism, something I learned today. Okay, but soy, I'm going to tell you, is in a ton of packaged food. It comes in the form of soy lecithin, and it's something that you should really watch out for. There is soy in everything, crackers, cookies, packaged, pretty much anything that you eat that's packaged or has is preserved in any way has soy lecithin as a preservative in it, and that's where it's really producing more and more problems with hypothyroidism, but it's also producing a lot more problems with a lot of other health issues. So I think it's important to really look at your labels and take that into consideration. Another thing is gluten. I mentioned in last night's video that Hashimoto's disease is a autoimmune disease, and a lot of researchers have found that most people that have hypothyroidism in America, it's caused or provoked by a gluten intolerance. So I would certainly remove gluten from your diet. That's another thing that's in a lot more foods than what we realize. And so I would take a look at the labels of anything that you're eating that may have gluten in it and remove that from your diet, and then remove some of these things, and as you reintroduce them, see what your response is in your body. If you start to feel any of those symptoms of hypothyroidism I mentioned in last night's video or in my blogs, then you can kind of have that tested or gauge how you feel and maybe take it out again. I don't eat a whole lot of gluten. I eat very little gluten, and when I do, it's like sprouted grain bread or maybe in a pasta, but I so very rarely eat it that it shouldn't be a disruptor for me. And that's just how it works. It's not a conscious choice. BPA. BPA is bisphenol A. Sorry, I'm saying it wrong. But what that is, the BPA that you hear about that's in plastics, I have to say that it's in so many things. I think it's really going to be hard to get rid of. And it's okay to eliminate some things, but I think what you're going to find is that those paper receipts that you touch every day, those are made with thermal paper, and thermal paper has BPA in it. Our plastics have BPA in it. Even your water bottles might have BPA in it. Not the ones that you buy that say BPA free. I'm talking about spring water bottles. So unless your spring water bottle that you get at the grocery store says BPA free, it might have BPA in it. Also, canned drinks and canned foods, the lining to preserve the canned drinks and canned foods is lined with BPA. And although the studies have shown it's not very much BPA, if you add it to everything else that you're taking in your diet, it adds up. So keep that in mind as well. And as we're talking about plastics, we're going to talk about phthalates. And phthalates are found in the stretchy plastics. So if you have anything at your home that's a stretchy plastic, like plastic wrap or plastic bags that are stretchy, it has phthalates in it. And also phthalates are found sometimes in our shampoos and also in our cosmetics. So make sure that you look at those labels very carefully, because that could be a disruptor as well. It's, again, things that are going to be very hard to get rid of. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. And then we're going to talk about chemicals like herbicides and pesticides. So as you're getting food, make sure to get as organic as you can in your vegetables and to wash them thoroughly, because it may still be laced with some pesticides, and that could be a disruptor as well. But the other thing would be is if you are working in the landscape field or working around any kind of chemicals or herbicides, you want to really make sure that you keep your face covered, maybe wash your hands, pay attention to what is on your clothes before you come inside, because all of those things can also affect and disrupt your thyroid function. Mercury. Mercury is a tough one for me right now because I eat more fish than I used to, so that could be contributing too. I don't eat a ton of it. I usually eat 3 pieces a week of fish. I probably should have more, but fish has mercury in it, and there are a lot of things that have mercury in it. So like your fillings in your teeth, some people believe that those can also contribute to cancer. I don't recommend having those removed just yet. Take things one step at a time. Don't obsess over anything. Just try and figure out what your body responds to. If you take mercury out of your diet and you want to add it back in, that could be a good thing to do. Dairy. Dairy is a really big one, and I really feel like dairy is one of those things that people don't want to get rid of because, oh my gosh, I love ice cream, or I drink milk with cereal every day, or what have you. It's the casein in the milk. So if you can find a whole milk that doesn't have caseins in it, that's probably going to be better for your body. But even like whey proteins that have casein in it, you might have a response to it that's not good. It can not only cause problems with your thyroid, but also problems with gassiness and things of that nature. So it really provokes an allergy or sensitivity in our bodies, and our body tries to play catch up and respond to it. So that's why dairy could be affecting your thyroid, because it might be slowing it down a little bit. Caffeine, that's a really tough one for me because I love coffee. And the research I've done shows if you have 300 milligrams or less a day of caffeine, and we're talking caffeine, not just coffee, that it might not disrupt your thyroid as much. But what happens is that caffeine revs up your engine. And then if your engine is already slow, remember I said yesterday that it's almost like you're trying to start your engine like a starter, like your starter's not working on your car or your alternator's not working, but you keep trying to start that engine and it revs and revs and revs, and it never turns over. That's kind of what your thyroid is doing. So you're giving it a little boost for a time, and then it slows down again, and it's got to try to start to get back get going again. So that's why you might feel those highs and lows a little bit during your day, more so than someone who doesn't have hypothyroidism. Flame retardants. This is something I've learned in the last couple of weeks I didn't even associate with thyroid disease. Flame retardants. I've known some people who actually got rid of their beds because their beds had flame retardants in them, and they wanted to get rid of anything that could cause a disruption to their thyroid function. I'm not going to go that far just at this point just yet, but just keep that in mind, that that is something that has been shown to be a thyroid disruptor. And then of course lead and arsenic. I don't know too many people that are going to be dealing with arsenic, but if you do have it in and around your house, or you're touching it or around it, adding a lot more for whatever reason, and it can also be found in certain foods and chemical processes, do some research on the arsenic and see where you can eliminate it. Lead, I think is easiest eliminated just in certain homes that have lead paint, so be careful when you're looking at paint. But there are other ways you could get lead as well. I'm not going to go into the details of that here, but I will have more of those details on my website. I really think the thing to notice is that some of the things are things that you may not take in on a daily basis, but if the big things are going to be the gluten, the dairy, the coffee, and the soy. I would say those are going to be the biggest areas that you're going to notice a big difference in, and if you can eliminate some of those from your diet and add those back in. And like I said, some of the mercury, if you are still feeling sluggish, your hair's still falling out, you're still having an underactive thyroid, then you may want to look at taking mercury out of your diet, taking fish out of your diet. I think BPA is one of those things, like I said, I really feel like it's a tough thing to get rid of because there's BPA in pretty much everything. And the more research I did, the more things I found with BPA in it. And I thought, man, I mean, you really are going to have like nothing in your house to avoid any kind of disease. And that's the key, is that we cannot avoid it. We can't. The only way that we can avoid anything is really to put our faith in God. But when it really comes right down to it, we can get rid of every little thing in our house, and still there's going to be something that can cause either our thyroid to be disrupted or to be a carcinogen. There's always going to be something. So I just want you to not obsess, but do your research, have your information with you, go see a doctor, and then maybe try to eliminate a few things and bring them back in and see how your body responds to that. And if you have an inflammatory response, which would be more bloating or tired or, like I said, hair falling out or things of that nature, then you'll know what's working and not working for you. If you have sent me a message or you are online viewing it right now, I can't see for some reason, so I need to work on that. But thank you for tuning in, and I hope that you found this valuable. And look on my website at carolwardfitness.com for more details in my blog for the top